This is the Digital Trust Podcast. In every episode, we strive to bring support to those of you who serve on the front lines and in the trenches of data and technology. We endeavor to bring understanding to the under-resourced and underappreciated, help remove your stress, and provide relief to your pain. Welcome to the Digital Trust Podcast. Sit down with us as we give you hard-hitting advisory conversations to help you build digital trust with your stakeholders and clients, and actionable takeaways to help you become a digitally trustworthy organization.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Digital Trust Podcast. My name is Christian Redshaw, and my co-host today is none other than Zach Eichenberry. Zach, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Tell everyone who our guest is today, and let's welcome him to the show.
All right. We have David Shipley, CEO and Field Chief Security Officer for Beauceron Security, all the way from Nova Scotia area. So,
Nova Scotia area.
Yes.
He's from Fredericton, New
I'm from the
Brunswick.
States. Yes, I'm.
Well, in fairness to Zach,
Yes.
New Brunswick was
True.
Nova Scotia, but we split away. We declared our Independence Day, and it wasn't that dramatic. We just had to be in our own province.
We'll roll
I think
with
it
it.
was just the flag.
Well, yeah, I now know that, and I'm actually up in Vancouver recording this, and so
fantastic.
I've enjoyed my U.S. dollar strength for the last few days. It's been awesome.
Shots fired.
It's doing well against the Canadian peso.
That's right. So, David, you and I, we've talked before. Thanks for coming on again. I thought we would start with a hot topic, which is human risk management. So some of our listeners may be familiar with this term. You're in security awareness training. You're on the training side of the house. Why don't we unpack some of your ideas around human risk management and start there today?
Sounds good to me.
Absolutely. Labels have incredible power. And so imagine how you would feel on the other side as an employee of a hospital, as an employee of a tech company, being told you're in a human risk management platform. Wait a second. Is that how you see me? I'm not an asset. I'm not appreciated. I'm not a valuable. I'm not part of protecting the organization. It's instantly demotivating by its very nature. And it simply accounts for the flaws and the off chances mistakes, which, by the way, are not the norm. They're the outliers. Instead, we need to be talking about human enablement platforms, because security, awareness, behavior, and culture, which Gartner has done a much better job creating a much more holistic model that we're much more aligned to, is really about not just checking a compliance box, or not even just about reducing the risk of the human. The ultimate goal here is to help every person make good choices when they're using technology so they can thrive in a digital world and reduce their risk. That's the mission.
Yes.
It's not to criticize people for being people.
Yes. My hot take, David, I think we're singing the same song, because I'm also in the awareness training space. And when Forrester was asking for comment on creating the human risk management industry grid, my only feedback was you have the words in the wrong order. It should be risk managed by humans, and they did not take that feedback. So I think we're singing the same song here. So when you look at an organization and you say, "Hey, we want to empower and enable the humans through training," like, what are some of the key things that you encourage people to implement when they're wanting to put a program in place?
So number one is we provided a data set of the largest number of people and organizations ever to a university researcher. 250,000 people, 500 plus organizations, no restrictions. It was anonymized, private, but it was human behavior. And what we learned from that is that training frequency matters a lot. Immediately after training, the probability someone will click, if they're going to be in that 3.6% of people who are going to click on a fish on average, the chance that they'll click immediately after training is less than 3.5%. 90 days out, it rises to 15%. At 360 days out, it's almost 96%. What matters there? interventions in a timely manner sustain vigilance. People know phishing's a thing, but then other things come in. They're busy, they're tired, they're distracted. Other threats are real to them. Their vigilance factor decays. And it's not just their propensity to click, their probability of reporting, which is a distinct behavior requiring different motivators, also starts to decline. It's 98%. If they're going to report immediately after training, they got it. But after 90 days, it drops to 90. So frequency over volume. Secondly, you can overtrain. Too much information delivered all at once can result in security fatigue. And we saw that when we analyzed Security Awareness Month. Yes, click rates went down despite more phishing campaigns happening, but report rates also decline. So there is too much of a good thing. Anyone who does physical training will know you can overdo it at the gym. You can overdo it with training. So
That's my
those are
problem.
some really important things.
Yes. Yes.
High intensity. David, a two-part question for you. Part A, who should be responsible for awareness training in an organization? Should that be the IT's responsibility or HR, or what do you think? And part B is, how important is it to have different types of training for different types of roles in the organization and customize that training?
I think the big challenge here, and organizations suck at doing matrixed organization because the sweet spot is both. Because it is a matter of making sure we've got the right learnings to the right audiences in the right formats, which traditionally has been a human resources, talent enablement kind of function. But at the same time, the importance of overcoming some of the biases we all have. I'm not going to click, optimism bias. I'm not a target. I don't matter. Doing simulations, which requires a level of technical expertise, is outside the purview of HR and somewhat makes HR uncomfortable in some respects. So you need that. You need both. Typically, it's the IT team that's trying to lead this, and it's a compliance-oriented activity. But the most successful organizations have three key tent poles. They've got the IT team, they've got HR, and they actually have communications and marketing because they've got good guidelines about the brand and culture and things they want to do and how to communicate and things to be adding that context. So in the ideal world, it's matrixed.
Mm-hmm. Very well said.
And then what do you think about the roles in an organization? How should training align to roles? Should you, and maybe is that even the best way to deliver training? Should we even start?
It's funny. We do a lot of things because standards get set. So we did crazy things for way too long with passwords because NIST had this hilarious password standard. And then later there was a mea culpa when they realized the standard caused a human behavior they hadn't anticipated, i.e. changing 2 characters at the end and actually making passwords weaker. The same thing right now with the obsession of role-based training. I am unconvinced from the data that I have that there is such unique things related to training that every single role needs specific training on this. There's just sound fundamentals around cognitive security, social engineering, good hygiene habits, other things. We need to do a better job, and there's some phenomenal research emerging about targeting behaviors, not roles. And the other thing is the data that I do have, seniority and tenure matter. So when we look at most probability to click, brand new people to an organization under 6 months. You need to have a better training regime for them to build up assertiveness, confidence, and skills. That'll reduce your risk faster than focusing on the roles. Your brand new CMO is risky because they're brand new, not because of their role.
Mm-hmm. So rapid fire questions to finish things off, David. As a small organization, if you're talking to an SMB or an IT MSP that's helping their smaller clients, how do they get started in rolling out an awareness program? What's the ABCs?
I think the first thing that the MSP needs to understand is that there's tremendous value to getting an awareness program in place, because the number one blocker from an MSP convincing SMBs to invest in security is they don't understand the why. So the awareness program is really good because it gets your insurance needs satisfied, yay, but you're actually starting to build the common language with your customers so you can talk about this is why we need multi-factor authentication. This is why we want to clean up your AD. This is why we should do X, Y, or Z project. You're building up their capacity for change. And that's something we haven't thought about. A lot of MSPs are not offering security awareness. and they struggle to sell security services. And this is such a powerful enabler. And then just at the top of the funnel, number one risk remains social engineering, and it continues to scale really well. The top two reasons why people click on phishing, and we're the first to study this at size, 6,000 people we studied across hundreds of organizations. I was expecting something similar, and it looked safe. It looked legitimate. AI helps you target things to levels of precision never seen before, frequency, brand, etc. And those emails don't have typos anymore. So you absolutely need to engage at this level. And it builds a future path to bigger success. 50% of small businesses in Canada spend $0 on security still today.
Very well said. Very quick questions. We have about 30 seconds left. I'll give them to you both at the same time. Favorite person recommendation and resource recommendation. So what's a resource that you could point somebody to that is an IT practitioner looking to go down this path? And who is a person that you might recommend to come on our podcast?
So I'm going to go with two people. So Jessica Barker and her book, Confident Cyber. Jessica is an expert on the human side of cyber, but she writes in such an easy to understand and non-intimidating way. And she's got a number of best-selling books with Wiley, and she is a phenomenal human. So highly recommend if you've never had Jess on the show. Orders of magnitude, brilliant, PhD in the space. But favorite person, Jimmy Carter. Why, as a Canadian, Jimmy Carter prevented a nuclear meltdown at Chalk River. And he's the symbol of decency for me. So,
lovely.
Jimmy.
I love it.
With that note, thank you so much, David, for joining us today. And Zach and I will be back to wrap things up in a minute. Another action-packed episode. Orange juice concentrate from David Shipley. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts is we need to have him on for an entire series of episodes.
We do.
Absolutely.
We need a third host at this table, I think. What do you think?
That's absolutely true. I think it's refreshing to hear somebody give a first principles argument for why they are concerned with new frameworks like human risk management in the security space. It's just refreshing to hear somebody say, hold on a second, is that really what we want to do?
Yes. Yeah. What stood out to me was he was talking about frequency matters in training. It's like, how much you and I work out on a consistent basis to get the physiques that we have.
2-3 times a day.
High intensity is better than, overtraining and overstacking the volume. So I couldn't help but think of the gym.
It was over and under training, right?
Yes.
So it's about training hard and then resting, training hard and then resting.
Yeah.
And so there's a magic space in there for security practitioners. And again, it relies on their social IQ and their understanding of how humans work. He used the word anthropology at one point in time in one of our episodes. And so I thought that was incredibly insightful.
Agreed. We want to say a special thank you to our viewers and listeners for joining us in this conversation, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Thanks for joining us today on the Digital Trust Podcast. If you found this conversation helpful, please share it with someone you care about. And if you'd like to receive our monthly newsletter, please click the link in the description to subscribe. And to put your mind at ease, our newsletter will include episode summaries with key points and actionable takeaways, plus a heads up on the upcoming episode guests. Rest assured, it won't be a spammy sales message, and we will never sell or share your information. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.